Chapter 5. It was a cold, dark night in November. I was finally finishing the work I had done for so long. I felt very nervous and excited. I had all the tools I needed to give life to the body lying in front of me. It was already 1 o'clock in the morning. Rain was falling against the windows, and my candle was almost out. In the weak light, I suddenly saw the creature's yellow eye open. It took a deep breath and moved its arms and legs. I cannot explain how terrible I felt at that moment. I had worked so hard and carefully to make this being. I had chosen every part of his body to be beautiful. Beautiful? Oh God! His yellow skin hardly covered his muscles and veins. His hair was shiny and black. His teeth were white. But these nice features made the rest of his face look worse. His eyes were watery and sunken. His lips were thin and black. Human feelings change so quickly. I had spent nearly 2 years working only to bring this body to life. I had lost sleep and made myself sick. I wanted this more than anything. But now that I had done it, my dream was gone. I felt only fear and disgust. I couldn't look at the creature. I ran out of the room and walked back and forth in my bedroom for a long time, too upset to sleep. At last, I became very tired and lay down on my bed, still wearing my clothes. I tried to sleep, but my dreams were terrible. I dreamed I saw Elizabeth, healthy and happy, walking in the streets of Ingolstadt. I ran to her and kissed her. But suddenly, her face turned pale like a dead person. I thought I was holding my mother's dead body. Her body was wrapped in cloth, and worms were crawling on it. I woke up, terrified. I was sweating and shaking. Then, in the dim light from the moon through the window, I saw the monster, the horrible creature I had made. He was holding open my bed curtain and looking at me. His mouth opened, and he made strange sounds. He tried to smile, but it looked awful. He may have tried to speak, but I didn't understand. He reached out his hand as if to stop me, but I ran away down the stairs. I hid in the courtyard of the house and stayed there all night. I walked around, very scared. I listened to every sound, thinking the monster might come back. No human could look at that face without horror. Even a dead body brought back to life could not look as bad as that creature. I had seen him before he was finished, and he looked ugly even then. But now that he could move, he was worse than I ever imagined. That night was terrible. Sometimes my heart beat very fast, and sometimes I felt so weak I almost fell down. I was filled with fear and deep sadness. My dreams had become nightmares. Everything had changed so quickly. Finally, the morning came. It was still raining. I looked out and saw the church tower. It was 6 o'clock. The gate to the courtyard opened, and I went out into the street. I walked fast, afraid that the monster might appear around any corner. I didn't want to go back to my room. The sky was dark and the rain made me wet and cold. I kept walking, trying to feel better. I didn't know where I was going. My heart beat fast with fear, and I didn't want to look around. I walked like someone on a lonely road, afraid and never turning around, because he knows a monster is following him. After some time, I came near the place where coaches stopped. I stopped for no reason. A coach was coming. It was the Swiss coach, and it stopped right in front of me. The door opened, and I saw Henry Clerval. When he saw me, he jumped out. "My dear Frankenstein," he said, "I'm so happy to see you. How lucky that we meet here." I was so happy to see Henry. He made me think of my home, my father, Elizabeth, and everything I loved. I shook his hand, and, for the first time in many months, I felt peace and happiness. We walked to my college. Henry talked about our friends and how happy he was to be in Ingolstadt. It was hard to make my father understand that I wanted to learn more than just accounting, he said. He always said, "I make good money without learning Greek." But in the end, he let me come. "I'm very glad to see you," I said. "Tell me, how are my father, my brothers, and Elizabeth?" "They are well and happy, but they are worried because you don't write often." "I plan to talk to you about that later," he added with a smile. Then he looked at me closely and said, "You look very sick. You're so pale and thin. Have you been awake many nights?" "You're right," I answered. "I've been very busy with something, and I didn't rest. But now I hope it's over, and I'm free." I was still very nervous. I didn't even want to think about last night. I walked quickly, and soon we reached my college. Suddenly, I thought, what if the monster was still in my room? I was terrified that Henry might see him. I asked Henry to wait at the bottom of the stairs and ran up to my room. I was about to open the door when I stopped and felt cold all over. Then I opened the door quickly, like a child afraid of ghosts. But the room was empty. I checked my bedroom, also empty. The monster was gone. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy that I clapped my hands and ran back to Henry. We went to my room, and a servant brought breakfast. But I couldn't sit still. I felt strange and full of energy. I jumped around, laughed loudly, and clapped my hands. At first, Henry thought I was just happy to see him. But soon he saw something was wrong. My eyes looked wild, and my laughter was strange. "My dear Victor," he said, "what's wrong with you? You are not well." "Don't ask me," I cried, covering my face. I thought I saw the monster again. "He's here. Save me." I imagined the monster was grabbing me. I screamed and fainted. Poor Henry. He had been so happy to see me. But now I was unconscious, and he had to watch me suffer. I became very sick with a nervous fever. I stayed in bed for many months. Henry took care of me the whole time. He didn't tell my father or Elizabeth how sick I really was. He didn't want to worry them. He believed I couldn't have a better nurse than him. I was very ill. I always saw the monster in my mind. I talked about him again and again. Henry thought I was imagining things, but I kept saying the same things. So he knew something very bad must have happened to me. Slowly, I started to get better. Sometimes I got worse again, and Henry worried. One day, I looked outside and saw the trees growing new leaves. Spring had come. The season helped me heal. I started to feel happy again. My sadness was leaving me. "Dear Henry," I said, "you are so kind. You gave up your studies to take care of me all winter. How can I ever thank you? You can thank me by getting better quickly. And since you are feeling well now, can I talk to you about something?" I was afraid. What was he going to say? Did he want to talk about the monster? "Don't worry," Henry said, seeing the fear on my face. "I won't say more if it upsets you. But your father and Elizabeth would be very happy to get a letter from you. They don't know how sick you were, and they are worried because you haven't written." "Is that all?" I said. "Of course I want to write to them. They are so dear to me." "If that's how you feel," said Henry, "then here is a letter that came for you a few days ago. I think it's from your cousin." Chapter 6. Clerval gave me a letter. It was from my dear cousin, Elizabeth. The letter from Elizabeth. "My dear Victor, I heard that you were very sick. Even though Henry writes to us often, I am still very worried. They say you cannot write yet, but I wish you would send just one word to let us know you are feeling better. I waited every day, hoping for a letter. I even stopped my uncle from going to visit you in Ingolstadt. I wanted to go myself, but I couldn't. I imagined someone I don't know caring for you, someone who doesn't love you like I do. But now Henry says you are getting better. I hope you will write to us yourself very soon. Please get well and come home. We miss you. Your father is healthy, and he only wants to see you happy. Ernest, your younger brother, is now 16. He is full of energy and wants to join the army and become a soldier. But we don't want him to leave yet, not until you come back. My uncle doesn't like the idea of Ernest becoming a soldier, but Ernest doesn't like to study. He prefers climbing hills and rowing on the lake. I worry that he will waste his time unless we let him follow his dream. Not much has changed since you left. The lake and snowy mountains are still the same. Our home is calm and peaceful. I stay busy with small tasks and enjoy seeing happy faces around me. There is only one big change since you left. Do you remember Justine Moritz? Maybe not, so I'll tell you. Her mother was a widow with 4 children. Justine was the third child. Her father loved her, but her mother did not treat her well. After her father died, her mother was even worse. My aunt noticed this and invited Justine to live with us when she was 12. In Geneva, servants are treated with more respect than in other countries. Justine learned to help around the house, but she was never treated badly. She was always one of your favorites, and you once said that just seeing her happy face could make you feel better. My aunt loved Justine and gave her a good education. Justine was very thankful. She didn't say much, but you could see in her eyes how much she cared. She loved my aunt and tried to copy her way of speaking and behaving. Sometimes she still reminds me of her. When my aunt died, everyone was so sad, and poor Justine was forgotten. She had taken care of my aunt during her illness with great love. Afterward, she became very sick herself. Sadly, one by one, Justine's brothers and sister died. Her mother then only had her left. The mother started to feel guilty. She thought God was punishing her for being unfair. She was Catholic, and her priest agreed with her. So, she asked Justine to come home. Justine cried when she left us. She had changed a lot. Her sadness made her softer and kinder. But her time at her mother's home was not happy. Her mother was not truly sorry and often blamed her for the deaths of her siblings. Her mother finally became very ill and died during the first cold days of winter. Now Justine has returned to live with us. I love her very much. She is smart, gentle, and pretty. She still reminds me of my dear aunt. Let me also tell you about little William. He is growing fast and has lovely blue eyes, dark eyelashes, and curly hair. When he smiles, he has dimples in his rosy cheeks. He says he has a few little wives, but his favorite is Louisa Byron, a sweet 5-year-old girl. Now, dear Victor, maybe you want to hear the news from Geneva. Miss Mansfield is going to marry a young Englishman named John Melbourne. Her sister Manon, who is not very pretty, married a rich banker, M. de Villard, last autumn. Your old school friend Louis Manoir had many problems after Clerval left Geneva. But now he is happy again and may marry a lively French widow, Madame Tavernier. She is older than him, but everyone likes her. Writing this letter has made me feel better. But I still worry about you. Please, Victor, just write one line. We all thank Henry for his care and letters. Goodbye, my cousin. Take care of yourself, and please write soon. With love, Elizabeth Lavenza, Geneva, March 18th, 17. After reading this letter, I said, Dear Elizabeth, I must write at once to stop her worry. I wrote a short letter. It tired me a lot, but I was getting stronger. 2 weeks later, I was well enough to leave my room. One of the first things I did was take Clerval to meet the university professors. But it was hard for me. Since the terrible night when everything went wrong, I couldn't even hear the words natural science without pain. Even seeing scientific tools made me feel sick. Henry noticed this and removed all the equipment. He even changed my room because I didn't want to stay where I had worked before. Still, visiting the professors was not easy. M. Waldman praised my work and said I had done amazing things in science. He meant well, but his kind words hurt me deeply. He didn't understand why I was uncomfortable. He thought I was just being modest. He tried to keep talking about science. But I felt like he was showing me the very tools that had caused my pain. I could not tell him the truth. Luckily, Henry saw that I was uncomfortable. He said he didn't know much about science, so the conversation changed. I was very grateful, but I still said nothing. Henry was surprised, but he never asked questions. I loved him deeply, but I couldn't tell him what had happened. I was too afraid that speaking it aloud would make it even worse. M. Kremp was not as kind. He spoke loudly and without care. He praised me too, but in a rough way. It hurt more than Waldman's kind words. He said to Henry, "This young man has done better than all of us." A few years ago, he believed in silly old books, and now he's a star student. I felt sick again. Kremp thought I was being modest too. Then, he started talking about himself, which made me feel a little better because it stopped the talk about me. Henry never really liked natural science like I did. He was more interested in languages. He came to the university to learn Persian, Arabic, and Sanskrit. He wanted to use these skills for a great plan he had for his life. I also started learning these languages. I didn't want to think about science anymore. Studying with Henry helped me forget my pain. I didn't go very deep into the languages like Henry did. I just read to enjoy them. I found peace in their stories and poetry. Their sad parts were calming, and their joyful parts lifted my heart. Time passed, and soon it was summer. I had planned to return to Geneva in autumn, but many things delayed me. Then snow came, and the roads were too bad. I had to wait until spring. I was very sad to stay away longer. I missed my home and family. But I didn't want to leave Clerval alone in a new place before he knew people. Still, we had a happy winter. When spring came, it was late, but beautiful. In May, I expected a letter about my trip home. While I waited, Henry suggested we take a walking trip around the area. I liked the idea. I enjoyed walking, and Henry was the best person to go with. We walked for 2 weeks. I felt healthier and happier than before. The fresh air, the lovely sights, and Henry's company made me strong again. Before, my studies had kept me away from people. But now Henry helped me enjoy nature and life again. He was a true friend. He lifted my heart and made me feel like my old self, happy and loved. The weather was perfect. Spring flowers were blooming. I no longer felt the heavy sadness that had followed me for so long. Henry was happy to see me well again. He talked with joy and imagination. He made up stories like those in Persian and Arabic books. Sometimes he read poems, or we had fun debates. His mind was full of bright ideas. We returned to the university on a Sunday. The local people were dancing. Everyone seemed joyful. I was happy too, and I walked with energy and joy.